What's up, team? No time for pleasantries today. It's Mike White football day. Mike White returns. Second start for the Jets. First one was legendary. His jersey went into the Hall of Fame yesterday. If you didn't catch yesterday's stream, go back and watch it on the YouTube channel, MikeTheMush on YouTube. If you're already watching on YouTube, thanks. Subscribe, and then go follow the Twitch, twitch.tv/MikeTheMush. We'll talk about that later. I'll give a preview. But I do want to talk about the game in hindsight more. And I got a lot of topics to fit in. So we'll do a little preview and maybe give a pick at the end of the night. Speaking of picks, the basketball parlay from yesterday did not work out. The Magic game was really weird. We went 2 for 3. They were winning at halftime. I'm getting plus 12 with the Magic. Home against the Celtics, who have been terrible. Then they lose the third quarter, 31-10. It was worse than that for a minute. It was like 28-2 or something ridiculous. They went on an insane run. And then the Magic only lose by 13 anyway. So did the Celtics fix it, or did they just go on a hot streak and the Magic couldn't hit a shot? I don't know. Close but no cigar. The other two legs hit. What are you going to do? I think I'm going to give a pick every day towards the end of the stream. So stay tuned for that always. See what we can mush going into the next day so we can laugh at me. But that'll be fun, so stick around. We'll have one for today. I know what I want to do. Mike White football. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Did that Celtics players-only meeting propel them in some kind of way? It became a story that after the Marcus Smart comments about Tatum that they do this players-only meeting. Why don't teams do players-only meeting all the time? I don't really get that. They should be together all the time. Why does it need this like official meeting? They should be able to talk to each other openly. It's weird how they use that as a catalyst, and now they beat the Magic, and I'm sure somewhere in Boston someone's going, hey, well, I can't do a Boston accent. I parked the car, and then I went to see the Celtics, and they stunk. That's the Boston accent. Yeah, I don't know. Magic lose. What are you going to do? Topics for today, UFC 268. Weird that in back-to-back weeks we have 2 UFC pay-per-views, but it's at the Garden. It's a big card. I will be at the Garden the next day on Sunday for Cavs-Knicks. Huge game. Cavs rock, by the way. The Knicks obviously rock, although they lost again last night. But the Cavs I really like. They're really good. Evan Mobley is like becoming a star, like Anthony Davis light. As a rookie, obviously, but he seems like he's already advanced further than he should have. He looks good. That should be a game where the Knicks are favorites and probably make it too close for comfort, but I'm excited to go there. Anyway, I do want to talk about UFC 268 the night before at the Garden, so that'll be the biggest chunk. And then a few other things. Let's jump right in. Yeah, look at this box score, man. 31-10 in the third. They won every other quarter or tied it. Tough. And you lose by 13 when you're getting 12. Tough. Magic, the Celtics didn't even play well. The Magic just didn't score the basketball for a quarter. 79 points. What are you doing? Franz Wagner, by the way, looks really good. This stat line does not impress, but I like the way this kid looks. He's averaging 15 and 4, and he's just a good wing. He looks comfortable out there. He's what I thought Bradzikis was going to be for the Knicks. Oh, I don't know how to spell this. Bradzikis. This is okay. I mean, it was so much more obvious than that. Okay. Anyway, Ignis. He had like a game for the Knicks where he was good, right? I mean, I'm already off track. Tough. 2 minutes into the stream, we're off on a Ignis Bradzikis tirade. But this is what you get here. Nope. He had 5 points once. Oh, that's this year. I thought that's all the games he played in. He didn't play in a lot of games. Okay. There it is. 21. He was already off the Knicks. But I remember he had some games where he lit it up. Anyway, Wagner looks good. His brother not as good. Both on the same team, though. So that's fun. No one cares about Celtics Magic. I mean, what are we doing? We're going to talk hockey for a moment, a brief moment, but a moment nonetheless. Eichel goes to the Knights. Speaking of the Golden Knights, you should check out the Link podcast, at the Link_podcast. I do it. It's not sports, but we had the lead singer of a band called Crash Midnight on this week, and they sing the in-arena theme song, Blackout, for the Golden Knights this year, which you've probably heard if you've been to a Knights game or saw them on TV or whatever. So that's kind of cool. So check that out. Anyway, Jack Eichel will go there. The Knights are loaded. Absolutely, absolutely loaded. I admittedly haven't watched as much hockey these past couple of years. I love the playoffs. I do love it, but the regular season just doesn't do it much for me anymore. I follow the Rangers, but I guess this is how other non-sports addicts feel about every sport. It's like, yeah, it's cool, but it's cooler in the playoffs. This is a safe haven for the diehards who want to talk about Ignis Brazdeikis, so don't worry, you're safe here. Yeah, Vegas has traded away all 4 of its first-round picks in franchise history. That's pretty funny. I like that. They're going for it. Good for them. They should. They get him on a discount because he's hurt, maybe, if you think of it that way. I don't know, but I think that's worth it. Although, he has a herniated disc in his neck, and that's what he's getting surgery on, so it's a big old risk. But if you can get a guy of this caliber on the cheap, if you consider this on the cheap, then you do it. The Sabres wanted him to get fusion surgery on his neck, and he wants an artificial disc replacement, which has never happened. An NHL player has never come back from that. Not that they can't, but they just haven't. So that's how that thing's whole soured. But I would take that risk if I'm the Knights. Fuck it. Let's do it. Another hockey note. This one was just silly to me. Not silly, but this should be obvious. But I guess you can't remove a name from the cup that easily. They're engraved in there. So they cross it out. Brad Aldrich is the guy that just got fired from them for sexual abuse of a player. And, of course, you don't need his name anywhere. But to have literal X's through the cup seems ugly for such a beautiful thing. I would rather him have to do something worse or more embarrassing. I don't know. He should have to do something. But this doesn't hurt him. He's like, my name's still on the cup, and now you notice it more. It's just crossed out. I don't know. It's just so weird. But yeah, same day the Lightning had their names added to the cup, he had his crossed out. Big day all around. I mean, screw this guy, obviously. It's not in defense of him at all. It's just that I think he should have to sell, Brad Aldridge Scarlet Letter shirts with an A on it and a circle around it. That'd be pretty cool. People would buy that, and then you donate it to a charity, and that's funny, because he's pissed, because everyone has his shirt on that says he sucks. And you get money. It's great. Better than crossing it out. This is no punishment, and it just makes the cup look uglier. I guess that's not what it's intended to be, but whatever. Like I said, it's Mike White football day. Big day. Big day. I've been throwing the football around all day in preparation. This is truly... Is this the most excited I've been for a Jets game? And oh man, I mean, I was excited for the first game of the year to see Wilson, and then I realized what this was. Not that I'm out on Wilson, but until Mike White plays poorly, which definitely could be tonight, but won't be because he's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but could be, but won't be. Until he plays poorly, Wilson doesn't sniff the job. So I just want someone to be good at quarterback. I actually don't really care who it is. We'll see. I don't know. The Bengals had a good defense. The Colts have a better defense, maybe different, not as fast, but some thumpers that can tackle. So we'll see. But the thing to worry about in this game, we'll do a little more of a preview later, but Jonathan Taylor's going to just run all over the Jets, right? That's the problem. They just hand the ball off 100 times. I don't know. Maybe Wentz can blow it. Mike White football, though. Let's just get excited. This is an exciting game. People will be watching the New York Jets with a small shred of excitement, even if you're not a fan. That's good. That's good. I want to do some Throwback Thursday stuff, but I have a lot of topics I always want to fit in. Maybe some weeks we'll do that more, especially out of football season. Like Wednesday, I mentioned yesterday, I want to do some of the more random topics and like almost full podcasty type one topic per episode things. Maybe we'll fit that in. Maybe with some interviews. I don't know. But Thursday, I would like to at least do a segment on a throwback thing because I love not just contemporary sports, but there's so many stories I wish I could have done this about years ago. And so we can do that. And so just to touch on it, as a reminder and a kickoff to the Throwback Thursday segment, I just wanted to remind everyone how good Michael Jordan was on the Wizards because it annoys me that he gets ragged for it because the team was bad. Has nothing to do with anything. If he's on a good team here, and for a team that he doesn't own, which he did at the time, he was part owner of those Wizards. That's why he came back to play for them, I assume. And if he were on a good team in 2001, 2002, if he goes to the... Don't let me go on a tangent of the 2001, 2002 playoffs. I'm gonna. I want the bracket. Yeah. Yeah, like if he... You know, the Nets didn't need him. This is a Kerry Kittles team, or this is Vince Carter. It's both? No, it's Kerry Kittles. Jason Kidd, obviously. Kenyon Martin, Keith Van Horn. This is a good team. So he doesn't necessarily belong here. But whatever. You put him on any of these teams. You put him on Sacramento. They have Peja Stojakovic, but he could play the three. Like, they beat the Lakers in that series. Although Shaq, I mean, I don't have to go on another tirade about how in 1995 Shaq would have beat Jordan no matter what, whether Jordan was healthy or not. So I was about to walk it through that door, but I'm not going to do it. Anyway, you put him on a good team. He's still awesome. He scored over 20 points per game. He was 38 and 39 years old. He was actually fairly durable. He played in 82 games his final season. I mean, 23, 5, and 5. And shooting it well. I mean, he wasn't a three-point shooter, but it's a different game, and he just wasn't a three-point shooter. But let's see who's like that. And whether you'd take him or not. I mean, this is just this season, so whatever. The stats might be a little skewed because it hasn't gone that far. But what did I say? 23, 5, and 5. So 23. Brandon Ingram has 4.5 and 4.3. I mean, Paul George, 23, 5, and 6. You know? You're getting Paul George. That's pretty good. That's really good. That's like got MVP votes kind of guy. And it's Michael Jordan. People rag on that. I have a Jordan Wizards jersey. Maybe I should put that up here. That'd be cool. That would look nice. And it would tell everyone how sick I am in the head. I believe it, though. He was really good. It's just the team was crummy. What do you want? There was no one here. Kwame Brown was a high pick that busted. Rip Hamilton's great. You're not going to catch me knocking a Yukon Husky. Brendan Haywood is just a guy. Popeye Jones. No disrespect. The guy can eat spinach like nobody's business. But Christian Leitner, Tyronn Lue, Better coach than player, and even that's a stretch. Obviously a better coach than player. Eton Thomas. I mean, what is this team? There's nothing. What are the stats like? I mean, Rip is their best player. And Jordan outscored him. Courtney Alexander's fine. I mean, but this team's ugly, you know? How many games did they win? The fact that he gave this team 37 wins is like, I know you have Michael Jordan, so you think like, oh, the team should be good. There's nobody here. If the Bulls had this roster, he wouldn't have won either. They're terrible. So anyway, Jordan was good. Let's get to the meat of the day. Oh, actually, Buster Posey retired. I wanted to touch on that. It's weird. Pretty out of left field. He's not that old. He's 34. He's 34. And just bizarre. He looked like he had a lot in the tank this year. Which people didn't think like last year or the year before, but didn't he do better this year? Or am I making that narrative up? But I think so. Yeah, he hit 304 with a 900 OPS. 18 homers. He was hurt a little, maybe? No, these are probably just days off. And he caught a lot too, right? Fielding. Yeah. 2021 catcher. 102 games. He only played 4 games that weren't catching. So they didn't do the first base experiment. He was behind the plate. Was this just everything he had left in the tank to give this season? Maybe he just wants to get out before there's another bad injury. I guess he's made a lot of money. He's won World Series. I guess there really isn't anything necessarily left on the table for him. But yeah, they had a $22 million option, and he was just like, nah. Wants to be home with his family. I mean, cool. Hey. This seems like the kind of thing where if he wants to come back in a year, I wouldn't be that shocked. But maybe he's done. I mean, good for him. Is he a Hall of Famer? Probably, right? He's got 3 World Series rings, right? Yeah. They don't feel like a dynasty necessarily, the Giants, but, I mean, you win 3 rings in, like, I mean, it looks like 4 years. It's 5 years. It's pretty good. Oh, yeah. And he won MVP. Yeah. And Rookie of the Year. Oh, it's definitely Hall of Famer. Yeah. And his numbers are just insane. He hit 300. Yeah. I mean, hey, wrap it up. Good for him. Yeah, he didn't play last year. Maybe his legs were just super fresh from not playing last year, and he was just run down in these couple of years, because these 2 years didn't look like he had it. But, yeah. It's tough to see him go. That stinks. It's one of the old guard going down. Not old. He's only 34, but, like, he feels like an old school player. I don't know how many of those we're going to have. And just a great catcher for many, many years. I mean, how often does that happen? He had that awful injury in 2011. That was a long time ago. Came all the way back from it. Yeah. 5th overall pick. Sometimes it just works out. How happy are the Giants? Everything great. Giants legend. Giants legend. Giants have a lot of good players, huh? That Barry guy. I think, yeah. I think I just wanted to talk about this and then jump into UFC. But we'll talk more about Usman in a minute. But he said he wanted to fight Canelo. This is obviously just because him and Canelo are fighting on the same day, right? Also, I would break down the Canelo Plant fight. I really love boxing. I love it. I just think, what are the odds on that? I just don't see Canelo losing at all. It feels like they just play this up more than it's actually worth playing up. And it's just a ridiculous favorite against a guy that can't compete with him. No one can compete with Canelo. Yeah, I mean, he's minus 1,000. you know, there's only so many breakdowns I can do. At least the UFC fights are closer and I can say something interesting. The truth is, Canelo doesn't lose to anybody. He's not going to lose to anybody. He fights guys that are way bigger than him and smashes them. He's just better. He only lost to Floyd, and even that, he was a kid. I think there's a world where he beats a different version of Floyd, definitely, and he's that unbelievable, and Plant is just a guy. No disrespect, but, like, I mean, this is, you know, it's just DAZN being like, we have a channel. Sometimes we do boxing fights. Watch us. It's just nonsense. It's just Canelo needs to fight somebody, so this is the next guy. It's the same way I feel about, like, when Valentina Shevchenko fights someone. It's like, who are we sacrificing next? Or Amanda Nunes, for that matter, unless they fight each other, which hopefully they do. So, yeah, this was funny, but I just thought, like, obviously Usman would get... I mean, we're not doing this, obviously. Canelo just pieces him up without any issue, and it's just over. I don't even understand. Usman's not even, like... He's confident in his hands because, as we're going to talk about, he's gotten so much better, but, like, that's not his thing until recently, if anything. Canelo would just never get touched. So, yeah. I mean, this is just purely because they fight on the same day. Which is cool. It's a good fighting day. Everyone should tune in. I hope you do. Let's talk UFC. 268 at the Garden. They got all the New York guys onto this card. They got John Vellante onto the card. Shout out to him. I went to same high school, and we used to train at the same gym when I was boxing for a little while. So that was cool. Cool guy. He gets on the card. He can win any fight. He could lose any fight. I don't know. One time, Fight Night Picks is a great YouTube channel that you should watch to break down different fights. They have a video for every single fight that happens, and they'll go much more in depth than I will. So if you're into that, check them out. But they said that John Vellante was the worst UFC fighter of all time, and I couldn't let it happen. I actually had Craig from Fight Night Picks on my other podcast, the Link podcast, that I mentioned before. Check that out. That episode was fun, talking UFC. So if you want to hear me defend Vellante, go there. But anyway, I wouldn't bet on it, but I'll be happy to watch. And you also have Ally Aquinta on this card, another Long Island guy, I think. Or Jersey, or somewhere. Valley Stream, yeah, he's from Long Island. Yeah, I mean, come on. Look at the picture. Just this picture right here. This is Long Island. This is what it is. He hasn't fought in a little while. I know I should start with the good fights. I'll get there, I swear. It's just I get distracted. New York angle. You got to play it up. You have to. Where are we? Here? He lost to Hooker in October of 2019. This is 2 full years away. And that was in Australia. This was in Canada. The last time he fought in the United States was December 2018. Almost 3 years ago. Which is crazy, when he beat Kevin Lee. This is obviously where he had the shot, and it just didn't work out. Khabib beats everyone. Then he beats Kevin Lee, and you're like, oh, this is going to go well. Then he loses to Cowboy, and then he loses to Hooker, and then he just hasn't fought in a while. I don't know why he's a big... I like Bobby Green a lot, actually. I do. But in these kind of fights, I prefer generally the guy that has faced the top competition and at least survived for a second. Whereas... while I like Bobby Green a lot, he's game, he's tough, he's going to throw. This is going to be a fight. It's going to be energetic. The crowd's going to love it. This is going to be a good fight. But he loses to... Fiziev is a monster. And he actually held his own really well in that fight. It was fight of the night. So, you know, I'm not counting Bobby Green out at all. I'm not. this is going to be a great fight. In fact, I won't bet on it, and I wouldn't, but I would enjoy watching it. But he lost to Thiago Moses. He just, he's still beating up Clay Guida, who's a great fighter. I feel like he fights every week. Yeah, I just feel like at the odds, I'll take Aquinta because maybe I haven't seen him. I don't know what kind of shape he's in, but he has fought Khabib, and Bobby Green hasn't fought guys like that. So I think it should be about even, these odds. I like both guys, but I'll take Raging Al for a home win. You gotta. I wouldn't bet it, but I like him. Alex Pereira, first time in the UFC. It would be shocking to me if he lost. Shocking. He finally comes over. This is a chance for him to show off his skills and vault right into the title conversation the same way Michael Chandler did when he came in. So, yeah, these odds are steep just because he doesn't have any UFC fights, but I'm comfortable there. Frankie Edgar, another metro area guy against Marlon Vera. This, I like Marlon Vera more. Younger Edgar, from what I've seen from him lately, his chin is just... he's gotten hit hard in a bunch of these fights. And I really do like him. I met him once. He was really, really nice. He was really cool, down to earth, exactly who you'd think he would be, willing to answer all my silly questions. But that flying knee he took against Sandhagen was bad. And he's taken a bunch of damage. He's 40. Look, he's going to leave it out on the mat, right? Like, no doubt about it. But he took damage in the Aldo fight. He took damage in the Ortega fight. He took damage in the Holloway fight. He took damage in the Korean Zombie fight. And he got knocked out really bad in the Sandhagen fight. I'm not saying he can't bang. He can. He beat Yair Rodriguez. It was a banger. But I don't know. This scares me. It's just so much easier for me to see him getting beat up and having to stop the fight. So I like Marlon Vera here. Might put him in one of the parlays I put together here. Might be a round robin kind of situation for UFC 268. Billy Quaranti over Shane Burgos. I don't have a read on this fight at all. I don't know. I don't really understand why Burgos is a huge favorite. He boxes as well as anybody in the UFC, pretty much. I mean, that's not true, but he's good. And Quarantillo on the way up, right? He just beat someone good. Gabriel Benitez. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking of. It might it was a fight of the night. It was just a really good fight. So yeah, I don't know. Shane Burgos fits the same bill as what I said about Ally Quinta. He's faced better people, right? That goes a long way from me. You've been in the cage with them and have hung around. Amir Khani fight was crazy. Edson Barbosa is the fight that he just had, and he lost. But that was a fight of the night. And I just think Edson Barbosa is better than any of the guys on the other list. I don't know. I wouldn't bet this fight. I don't know. When Burgos got knocked out, when he just like stumbled back and just like delayed knockout, it's a scary one for me. I need to see something after it. Let's get to the, not the real fights. That's disrespectful, but the cream of the crop. I wish I should just keep a little creamer here to do the Macho Man promo. That would be nice. Cream of the crop. Anytime I want, just pull the little creamer up. Wow. If only. Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje. This is the Trevor Whitman card, right? Because you have Justin Gaethje, Rose Namajunas, and Camaro Usman are all Trevor Whitman fighters. He coaches all three. And I love Trevor Whitman. So he's I think he's the best coach in the UFC. And he's coaching all three of these on the same night. I don't know. I guess he's cornering all three. I would assume so. Busy day for him. I haven't really heard much about that, but he's doing that, and it's at the Garden, and like I love this card. I really love this card. It feels like it's for me. So I can totally see doing just a Trevor Whitman parlay. Parlay Gaethje, Rose, and Usman. That would be cool. I just think his striking ability to coach strikers up has been awesome to see. So maybe, but I don't know about betting this fight, but we'll get there in a second. Gaethje Chandler is a war. It's just a war, but I know that Chandler will dive forward. I haven't seen anything else from him. Both guys are powerful. Both guys can wrestle, although Chandler's more offensive and Gaethje's more defensive wrestling, but that makes sense for a good matchup. Both fighters we've seen improve a lot, so that's cool too. And, you know, it's easier for me to see Chandler going for something, either a single leg or a double leg or a feint and then a strike, and Gaethje moving a little slower. Not slower in a bad way. That things are slowing down for him a little bit, and he can respond with a big counter and crush him. Also, I like that Gaethje will throw leg kicks, which will slow Chandler down. Durability matters in this one, because if we're talking about a war, then both guys are probably going to have to get hit if they want to win. I don't know about any flash knockout kind of stuff in this one. I mean, you never know. Because both guys have durability concerns. They've both taken a ton of damage. A ton. Let's look at Chandler first. And he just lost to Oliveira, right, in the last fight. Where am I here? Here. Yep. And then he beat Hooker before that. Those are the only two fights. It's weird to think that he's only had two. It feels like a little bit more. The Hooker win, I didn't think he would win, and he just blitzed him and got there. But that was it was a half a round. It was half a round. And he just blitzed and won it. Good for him. He doesn't get credit taken away. I love Dan Hooker. And I think that's a tough victory. But he lost to Oliveira, who a lot of people would have lost to that night. He's the champ. And I put Gaethje closer to Oliveira than I do Hooker, right? And from what I've seen from Justin Gaethje, you lose to Khabib, whatever. He put the worst beating on Tony Ferguson that I've ever seen. He beats Donald Cerrone. He beats Edson Barbosa. He beats James Vick, who's a giant. I've just seen him do a couple more things. He lost the Poirier fight, but it was an incredible fight. He lost to Eddie Alvarez, who Chandler beat, but different versions, and great fight. I just feel like I've seen more of it, and they've taken... I don't know. The damage is interesting. I feel like Gaethje hasn't taken a lot of damage because he hasn't fought in a while. He hasn't fought in a year. He has taken a lot of damage over the years, for sure. He's almost punch drunk sometimes when you hear him. But for some reason, it just feels like Chandler's damage is more recent. And I think Gaethje hits... I want to say harder. I mean, Chandler has a lot of power, but Gaethje hits better. More efficient, cleaner. And the leg kicks really play into this for me. The problem is These are pretty big odds. Vegas seems to understand what I'm saying. I would have thought these odds would have gotten closer, but they haven't moved that much. The best you can get it at is 200. I like Gaethje to win. I might take minus 200. I think the line is probably correct. And so this is more heart than brain. But I do trust Whitman to have him ready on the feet. And if Chandler takes him down, I'm not that scared about Justin Gaethje on the ground. He's been there with Khabib. He lost, but he's been there. That matters to me. He's felt that, and it means it won't be the worst he's ever felt, which is important. So if Chandler lands a bomb and then gets it to the ground, you know, I'm not saying he can't win. I just like the tools of Gaethje and the coach of Gaethje better. That he wins on the feet. You're not that worried when it's on the feet, in my opinion. And if Chandler tries to wrestle, that's Gaethje's bread and butter is defensive wrestling. He's very good at it. So it just feels like the game plan in general is better for Gaethje. So I like that. Rose and Weili Zhang is a wild fight because Rose has only fought in pairs for a while now, right? She's fought back-to-back fights with the same opponents a couple times. Yeah. Joanna twice, wins both. This is why I like Rose in this fight. She's never lost a non-weird fight. I mean, she got slammed on her head and loses, but Jessica Andrade is a good fighter. And the second one was a split decision, although I don't think it should have been. Rose definitely won that fight. And it was in Abu Dhabi, so that's a weird one. And then she just knocks out Weili Zhang, and it's like, Rose has never been... It's been a while since you've been able to get to Rose. This fight... you can't throw it away, but... remove that random slam where she gets knocked unconscious. You don't know what's going to happen. And so beating Joanna twice, beating Andrade, and beating Weili, I don't necessarily see why she's not at least a small favorite. It's wild. And Weili is awesome. I like both. I was so close to spelling that right. What did I do wrong? Oh, I just typed it wrong. Well, that's different. Maybe I'll have to get better at spelling if I'm doing this on camera. But where's the, here. Yeah, I mean, she's beating up everybody. But this was a close fight. If they fight again, which everyone kind of was waiting for that, you have to give the rematch here, I guess. She deserves it, but that's coming, right? Eventually. If Joanna is ready. She beat Andrade. She whooped her. Knocked her out in the first round. And then this fight was a split decision. Could have gone either way, while Rose beat her twice. I'm not going to say she whooped her, but still. I don't know necessarily if Weili would beat Joanna again. That fight was one of the best fights I've ever seen. Maybe the best fight I've ever seen, honestly. Eggplant head. I don't know why I chose eggplant, but I meant it. And if this fight is equal, you would think the champ would get the minus 130 if it was dead equal. So these odds just seem a little bit wrong to me. I would stay away from this fight, but I like Rose. I like that Whitman parlay. I like the three of them. I do. And I like Vera. And I like Edmund Shabazian too, actually. At equal odds. I think he should be a favorite too. Same way I feel about the Rose fight. I think it's a little bizarre. But let's talk the main event. Colby, Covington, Camaro, Usman. Here's what I don't get. And it's baked into the price. But they are talking about this fight as though it's an equal fight, We already saw Camaro when Camaro Usman went to. He used to be Henry Hooft. It used to be his coach, and he was great then and a champ. He goes to Trevor Whitman because you can tell he knows that he wants his striking to be better. So he gets his striking better. This is what I don't get about this fight. Why would it go any different? He improves so much from which fight to which fight. It doesn't even matter. He's improved a ton, right? And since he's improved a ton, he has beaten a lot of people. He beats Woodley, right? Easy. He wins the belt. Woodley's already done at this point. He beats Colby bad. No, he doesn't beat him bad. It's a good fight. But he knocks him out. To knock out Colby Covington is a lot. Since then, he destroyed Masvidal. He knocked out Gilbert Burns. And he knocked out Jorge Masvidal, who doesn't get knocked out by anybody. His striking has gone up a ton of levels in these 4 fights. Usman was already champion and is now up here as one of the best ever. What's different here? Because I've watched Colby Covington in that time, and all he did was beat Tyron Woodley. And Tyron Woodley, it took him 5 rounds, and he was beyond done. Tyron Woodley just lost to Jake Paul in a boxing match. What are we talking about? To me, Covington hasn't proven that much. He wins a lot of decisions. I know he beats Rafael Dos Anjos for the title. Interim, I don't care. But we're talking about different guys. And it's baked into the price, like I said. And Covington can fight with him. So if you're just looking purely at odds, you're like, well, he fought with him into the 5th round, right? It was the 5th round, I believe. I don't know why I just switched to the other one. They both fought each other. It was the 5th round. And Usman was probably winning, but I think the scorecards actually had it pretty equal. I'm pretty sure one of the judges had that for Covington, if I remember correctly. But it was an important 5th round, and Usman knocks him out in a really close fight. I can see this going a similar way. It can be a really close fight, but if you're Colby Covington, you have to say to yourself, all right, I tried to purely strike with him. It didn't really work. And now I need to employ some kind of different game plan. Because if you do the same exact thing, I think Usman has improved a lot since then, knocking out Masvidal and beating him twice. And you haven't improved that much. And you have to be honest with yourself about that. And that's okay, but it has to factor into the game plan. You have to wrestle more. The problem is, can you actually out-wrestle Usman? I don't know. You're not as big. We haven't really seen Camaro Usman on his back very much. So I don't know what that looks like, but in my head, he's able to muscle up and get up. He's usually the one, he might just stuff the takedown in general, but you have to try something different if you're Covington, because he has good wrestling. Although I can't imagine him on the ground pounding out Camaro Usman to win. It's just very hard for me to imagine. We haven't really seen that from him very much, from what I can remember. I think Lawler fight went to the ground, but I don't think he pummeled him to finish, Obviously, it was a decision. I can see Usman getting him up against the cage and beating him up. In the clinches and on the ground, I just think Usman is more powerful. So the line is probably right, but I like that Whitman parlay so much. So I think what my picks would end up being are, I like Usman. This fight I just want to watch, but if I had to lean, I would go Rose. I like Gaethje, but I do think the odds are pretty close. And I like Marlon Vera for sure. And I like Edmund Shabazian at these odds, honestly. So My favorite picks would be a parlay of Usman and Gaethje. But I would throw a round robin in of Usman, Gaethje, Vera, and Shabazian. And I think that would pay pretty nicely. And if you round robin it with twos, which is just a bunch of two-team parlays, two-fighter parlays, I think you probably, at worst, you break even. And at best, you do pretty well. And then you sprinkle a little on all four, and you see what happens. Those are the picks I like. Does the winner of this Colby Covington Usman fight, who do they fight? It's tough. Does Chimaev just get the fight? Does Leon Edwards get the fight? Leon Edwards still has to fight. Who's he fighting? I'm drawing a blank. Masvidal? He just beat Diaz. We'll see. That Bilal Muhammad fight was ridiculous. The eye poke. Bilal Muhammad was looking good in that fight. Yeah, he fights Masvidal in a month at 269. So, if Masvidal wins, does he get a rematch with Usman? They probably don't want that. He just got starched twice. There's nothing there. But if Edwards wins, he's the obvious choice to get the winner of this. Although if Covington wins, of course you do the trilogy. So that person has to wait. Imagine Edwards wins, he finally is in line for the title shot, and then Covington wins, and you have to do a trilogy. You can't not give Usman a rematch. That would be hilarious. And then Chimaev, who knows? He could just come in and steal the whole spotlight. It's interesting. We'll get there eventually. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I want to go down a couple of quick NBA notes. I'm not even going to pull up the box scores because I'll get caught in a loop. And it'll be 1985 Knicks box scores. We all know it. I think RJ Barrett is awesome. He has 4 games of 20-plus points. He's finally coming into his own. RJ Barrett is going to be a star. I believe that. I think he's cut from the mold of almost Paul Piercy and more of a guard. He just does everything pretty well. And it's taking him some time to show off. Unfortunately, the Knicks are broken. They look good in every game, and then they give up a 20-point run always. I don't know what's their deal. I'll see on Sunday Live. Memphis was a home dog to the Nuggets. They shouldn't ever be home dogs. They're too good. Vegas hasn't caught up yet that Ja is just elite and awesome, and he played great for at least a couple stretches, but he had some big dunks. He had 18-6, 3 steals. He looked like he was controlling the game more than anything else. They win a close game. The last play, Ja goes to the line, gets 2 free throws. Close game. I just thought it was funny that Ja, if I'm him, I don't know if he did this, but I wonder, did he see that he's an underdog? Do they pay attention? I wonder. I don't know. But if he sees that he's an underdog, gets mad, and goes and wins the game, it's cool. Autoplay, man. Yikes. I think the Cavs are good. I talked about it before. I think Evan Mobley is doing things that are unbelievable. I think they played tonight, actually. Or, no, they played last night. Right here. Right in front of me. They beat the Blazers. Yeah. Yeah, I think the Cavs are good. They're just good. They lose Larry Markkinen and Kevin Love for a little while. COVID protocols. But Dean Wade was good at, Kansas State, was that? Yeah. He was there for 100 years. He's a role player. He knows. He's not a young kid. He knows what he needs to do. Jared Allen has been unbelievable this year, 24 and 17. Mobley and Allen next to each other is crazy. They're big. They're good. Sexton and Garland can hang as guards. And you got Rubio, Usman on the bench. They're a guy short of being like actually good, maybe 2 guys, but they're feisty. I'm worried about the Knicks with them on Sunday, honestly. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think those teams are like pretty evenly matched, honestly, which is weird. They're both better than people gave them credit for. LaMelo versus Steph happened. Look at that really quick. I know I said I wasn't going to bring up box scores, but I did. LaMelo's so on and off. He 0 for 6 from 3. Either he's insanely good or awful. What is he shooting from 3 now for the season? Like this, the numbers almost don't make sense because either he's great or he's not. It's 40%, but like either he's unbelievable or terrible. In this one, he's terrible, and they get smoked. And you're like, yeah, of course. Steph was not good either, 3 for 11, but Jordan Poole hit every shot. I mean, this guy's scary. You bring him in, you go 3 guards. I mean, you could run the Steph, Poole, Clay, Draymond, Wiggins, and Draymond at the 5 and run all over everybody. Or Bielitsa could get in there, or Kuminga if he ever gets it together, which he won't, or Iguodala. Like, they have a million just guys. They're just forwards. They just throw everyone in there with Steph and Dre, and if you figure it out, you have 5. I love the Warriors have been great. I thought this game would be closer though. Nets quietly got a good win over the Hawks here. Everyone played for the Hawks. John Collins was questionable, so maybe he was a little hobbled, but KD looks like he's on a mission, man. I talked yesterday about how Harden is struggling with the free throws. He only shoots 1 free throw again. I really stand by it. Go back and watch the video on Twitch or YouTube if you haven't. I think the free throws are having something to do with the rule changes, and we have to start addressing that these guys might be a little bit different. It might not be a ton. It might not be this much, but it's something. He's struggling. They win the game, so it's fine because everyone else shot well. Joe Harris goes 6 for 8 from 3. You're not going to lose, but I don't know. Even Trae Young got 8 free throws, and he's the culprit of the throw your head back and pretend you got fouled. Pelicans lose again here, I think. Yeah, to the Kings by a lot. It was never really that close. They get killed in the 4th. They lose by 8. Could the Pelicans shut down Zion and go for the number 1 pick? They're 1-8. I know that's so stupid. Obviously, they're not going to do that. But if you're them and you're actually trying to get better, it's like, well, we're going to be terrible. And if Zion comes back, we're going to win games we shouldn't win. And I want him to be healthy, and I want him to start working out and be in better shape. Because he was so awesome at the end of last year. And you just look at this team and you're like, ugh. Valanciunas is playing well. I mean, Ingram didn't even play. He's hurt. These are just guys. You're like, we're not actually competing, right? So why are we putting Zion out too fast? So that's why I took their under for the season, because I just figured that they'll get killed a lot and they're not going to rush Zion back, because what's the point? I know they're not going to intentionally tank, but like, come on. I had a quick note about the college football playoff rankings. I heard Big Pat from Barstool, and pardon my take, say he had a good take about Cincinnati getting screwed. They're not in the top 4 because their other lower conference mates are not in the top 25. I want to pull up the rankings here. So you don't have, they came in at 6th, even behind Ohio State. We're not even going to get into that. But they come in at 6th, and you don't have like the SMUs and the Houstons in here to make it look like you have better conference mates and people that you might play. And so that might bump them up. They're undefeated, but what do they do? Like, even if they run the table, do they win? I don't know if you put Cincinnati in over any of these teams with 1 loss even. It's weird, but I liked that take by Big Cat that they look worse because there aren't other non-Power 5 conference teams. Fresno State is here, but that's a different story. They won like a big game, didn't they? They beat UCLA on the road, yeah. And San Diego State, who's, not the same, but they beat UConn 45-0. Huskies football. Rep the Huskies, man. Tough. Randy Edsel, goodbye for the 2nd time. I don't know. I would have just put them in. Just put them in because Even if it's wrong, you appease all the fans. There's no backlash. Make them happy. Put them in. And then once someone like Ohio State beats someone good that's on their resume, they have Michigan the final game, then you jump Cincinnati and whatever. You fix it. Just put Cincinnati in for now so the college football playoff rankings fans are like, all right, at least we got that. I don't know. Or just let them play in the playoff game and just get smoked. And then be like, see? We put them in. And then they get destroyed. And you're like, yeah, because you're Cincinnati. I get it. They should just have like a major league and minor league. There should just be the Power 5 conferences and the not. And you're not playing for this title because this is how it is. Should be 2 divisions, honestly. Or you just expand it to 12 teams like they're just kicking the can down the road. Just do that. And then you have no excuses. 4 buys, make it 3 rounds. It's easy enough. I don't know. We'll get to more college football playoff stuff eventually, obviously, but that was just silly. Quickly, let's talk about Mike White. We already touched on it earlier, but I don't know if being on short rest bothers the Jets that much. Huge underdogs, I feel like they're like, it's fine. Just get out there and play. Coming off a win, you know? Generally, these awful teams that are 10-point underdogs, I don't have stats to back this up, but I imagine that they're not expected to compete coming off of a win with high confidence. Usually if you're a 10-point underdog, you probably just got blown out by somebody because you're not good. Especially against a team that's 3-5. So when a 3-5 team is a 10-point favorite, you don't think the other team is coming off of really feel-good victory with a new quarterback that's feeling like, oh my God, maybe this is a thing. That never happens. So to me, this spread is a little weird only because it's easier to see the Jets riding that momentum than not. But I wouldn't necessarily take it. And this will go into our pick of the week. Let's go full screen. Pick of the day. Pick of the day. Mike the Mush pick. I'll tease the Heat. Let's go to NBA spreads. I want to get this right because I believe you get the Heat down to maybe 1 against Boston. Yeah, I saw it at 6.5 on a 5-point teaser and a 7-point NFL teaser, right? Those are usually the same. So I'll get the Heat down to -1.5 against Boston. I still don't believe in Boston. They're on a back-to-back, and Miami looks really good. And they look motivated. I like Miami better. They have a lot more depth and players. I like Miami to cover 1.5, just win the game, basically. And then I'll tease the Jets up to 17. Because I think there's a way that the Jets, I would take them +10. I did in my pool where you have to pick every game. But I just think there's more of a chance that the Jets win this game than there should be for a 10-point underdog. The Colts are better. Jonathan Taylor might run all over them and they never actually compete. But even so, Mike White has at least shown that he will throw it down the field. So that's good. It's got to count for something. So yeah, I just tease that up, tease the Heat down, 2-team tease, 7 points. You're given -130-ish. It's fine. It's not too hard. It gives you something to root for. I think it's a good pick. And if there was ever a reason for me to be called Mike the Mush, it's picking the Jets on a Thursday night road game with a quarterback that's only played once. So we'll see. Who knows? That's a wrap. Tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow we'll be on Twitch live, twitch.tv/MikeTheMush at around noon Eastern. I have a wedding to go to. I want to get my football picks out there. We'll do a quick run through of all the football games. That's what it's going to be. We'll go through every game. We'll make the pick for pools. We'll give Mush picks at the end. And that's it. It'll be a daytime stream. It'll be up on YouTube if you watch there, hopefully quickly afterwards. whichever platform you're following on and watching on, please follow and watch on the other. The Twitch is really fun because we can chat throughout the stream, so I recommend doing that. Come on in. If not, you can always catch it on YouTube. Write some comments. We'll touch on them after. Follow the Discord. Join the Discord server. If you go to twitch.tv/MikeTheMush, go to the About page. There's an invite to the Discord where we will pull people in for voice calls every now and then. That'll be fun. Follow the Link Podcast at the Link_podcast for all your non-sports stuff. That's it. No more plugs. It's Mike White Football Day. Please, let the Jets just be good. I don't know. There's no analysis necessary. This is just me as a fan begging for the Jets to actually be good. It'd be really cool. It would just be cool. Just let a quarterback be good for once that I think might be good. Peace out.